I have been asked so many times, why do buyers buy in regards to my story of being trafficked? And the question has always cracked me up because they miss the entire point. The sex industry is a business. And that is exactly why we're doing this podcast. Hi, and welcome to Whores Do It Best, a business podcast. My name is Jess Rich, and we are going through the first 12 episodes where I am sharing my story from how I went from being a conservative evangelical Christian to whatever the hell I am now, but fully believing that sex workers' rights are human rights and that we need to look deeper and ask more questions. And really, safety is important for all people in any industry. That is the basics of human rights. Why is selling sex so morally different from selling coaching or selling chiropractic or selling dentistry? Why do we have the difference or the lack of comparison from one industry to the next? And it's because we have this moral standard around sex being something uniquely different than labor, than effort, than an action, than something we do. But if sex is whatever you make it, and people make sex all different things, and it's obvious because the sex industry exists that people are selling it, why do people buy it? Well, people buy sex for the same reason they buy anything else. It's to avoid pain or pursue pleasure, and sometimes both. The sex industry is really just a business. It's an industry. And this is what makes Whores Do It Best, because as I've helped people over the last 2 decades with their businesses, what we have as a problem within the entrepreneurship space is this disconnect from what our business actually does, because we are so incredibly connected to it. We create businesses as though there are babies or they're children. There are things that we love that we birthed somehow. And because we birthed this thing, we're so attached to it, and we become narcissistic with our businesses and then aren't even able to grow the way we want to grow because we can't see the forest for the trees. And this is one of the most valuable things that the sex industry taught me, that my business isn't about me. It might be my face, it might be my body, it might be my words, it might be my writing. But it's not about me. It's about the service that I deliver, the product that I deliver, the thing that I do that helps them meet their needs or eliminate a problem. When we turn the sex industry into this big moral argument, this big thing on the hill that we have to, our sexuality is this thing that can't be touched. It's this epitome of godliness or goodness or ecstasy or whatever it is that we exalt sexuality to. We forget that for some people it's a business, or for some people it is that amazing godly thing, but it isn't for everybody. And that's okay, because we are all sexual beings. And I know from my perspective, that's what the church forgot to teach about, was the fact that we are all sexual and we have these needs and these desires, and our sexuality is an integrated part of who we are. And when we disconnect from our sexuality, we end up repressed in so many other ways and not fulfilled and unhappy and seeking something else. So if you want to know why the sex industry exists, it's because we have this desire within us to be sexual. We have this desire to be connected and have companionship and care, but we don't always have the time or the space or can find the right partner. And sometimes there are medical problems. There are things that happen in a person's life where they're not able to maintain a relationship. And so buying sex is logical. It's an exchange of value, just like every other business. I think this might just be the shortest podcast ever because that is really it. It's not complicated. It's not any more complicated than any other industry or business in the world. When there's a need, it will be filled, and there will be someone there to fill it. Why wouldn't people buy? They have core needs. Humanity has core needs to feel and enjoy and become and be sexual. The sex industry solves that problem. That's why people buy. See, when I was being trafficked, none of my buyers knew I was being trafficked. My driver's license said I was 5 years older than what I was, but I never showed anyone my driver's license. They just believed me. Because that, my friend, is marketing. Most of the time, I was sitting in a bar or on the street or a part of a service. And no one thought to ask me if I was of age because I acted of age. And that's really the essence of it, is that people buy because they seek companionship, love, affection, tenderness, a good time. People buy for all types of reasons. I think what the real question was why do people do it even when they know that the person could be trafficked? And I think that leads to the better question. And the better question is, why is the sex industry so prevalent in society? Not that I'm against it at all, not at all. But why is it that we have such a lack in our relationships, whether it be monogamous or poly or whatever you choose to live? Why do we have such obstacles in our relationships that we seek validation, that we seek love, that we seek connection outside of that relationship? There's lots of reasons why people desire companionship. And a lot of times paying for it means you're getting a professional. It means you can have time and space with someone who is there just for you without any of the drama that comes in the relationship. Sometimes it's just a fantasy that we want to have fulfilled. Thank you so much for joining me on this incredibly short episode of Whores Do It Best, a business podcast. Some things are just simple, and we don't need to overcomplicate it or add more words where they just don't need to be. So on the next episode, we are going to be talking about traffickers and pimps and why people do it. Why do people traffic other people? How could they possibly do such an awful thing? It's going to be fun. Y'all, I look forward to seeing you. Thank you so much and have a great day.